You know, it's kind of wild to think back to the late 90s. Like, what was life even like back then? It's amazing how much can change in just a couple decades.
It is, yeah. I mean, think about everything that's different now. The technology, the culture. You almost forget what it was like.
Totally. Like, for you listening, what were you up to back then? Makes you really feel how much time flies and how things shift, which is a lot like what we're diving into
Oh,
today.
for sure.
All this recent news surrounding Russell Brand and those serious charges, rape and sexual assault.
Like over in the UK, heavy stuff. We're going to be unpacking this, all based on a recent YouTube video where this host, she really digs into it.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because we're talking about alleged incidents that go way back, like between 1999 and 2003.
That adds a whole other dimension to it, for
Yeah.
sure. That time period, it's like a world away.
It really is. Okay, 1999, folks, just to set the scene, paint a little picture. Number one song in the U.S., TLC, No Scrubs. You still remember it.
Classic.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, just blowing up. Baby One More Time, Genie in a Bottle. I mean, come on.
Total throwbacks.
And in the movies, The Matrix had just come out. Mind-blowing at the time. And that whole red pill, blue pill thing, it's still relevant today.
Totally. And tech-wise, things were so different. Think
Right.
about it. The internet, still pretty new for a lot of people. Remember that sound of dial-up connecting?
Oh, yeah, the screeching.
Haha. Yep.
Yeah.
Broadband was just starting to become a thing.
And Y2K, I
Yeah.
mean, people were genuinely freaking out thinking computers worldwide were going to crash.
Just remember that total panic.
It felt like the end of the world as we knew it. And politically, Bill Clinton just been acquitted in that whole impeachment trial.
Wild times.
Then over in Japan, the very first camera phone gets released. I mean, nothing like our smartphones now, but still a huge deal.
Huge.
And get this, RIM, the company that became BlackBerry, they came out with a pager that could actually receive emails. Can you imagine?
Wow, revolutionary back then.
It really puts things in perspective. And maybe the most shocking thing, thinking about travel back then, you could just walk right up to the gate at an airport
No problem.
to meet someone. Security was nothing like after 9/11. It's like stepping back into a different universe.
It really shows how much has changed, like you said, our society, technology, all of it.
Yeah.
Important to remember as we dig into these allegations from back then.
Exactly. Okay, so getting to the heart of this Russell Brand news, the host of this YouTube video, she actually has a personal connection to him.
Oh, interesting.
She knows him in his current life now as this, 50-year-old who's become a baptized Christian.
Okay.
And she even says he played a part in how she met her husband,
Wow.
which she points out it's a stark contrast to the Russell Brand of his younger years.
Right.
Which he actually laid bare himself in his 2007 autobiography, My Bookie Wookie.
Oh, yeah. That book was pretty revealing.
Yeah. He talks openly about like a difficult childhood, struggling with all sorts of drug addictions, cannabis, LSD, ecstasy, amphetamines.
He didn't hold back.
No, not at all. And then bulimia, running away from home when he was young, and even what he called a sex addiction.
He put it all out there. Publicly.
But here's the thing. Despite all that, right, and despite his rise to fame in Hollywood, all the movies, even being married to Katy Perry, no allegations like this, nothing of this nature came out until September of last year.
That's a pretty big gap. The timing is definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. So September 2023, Channel 4 and the Sunday Times in the UK, they published this investigative report.
Right.
And 4 women come forward alleging sexual assault or rape against him.
Okay.
And the incidents they describe, they supposedly happened between 2006 and 2013. Now, important to note, the current charges, they're not directly from these women.
Got it.
But that 2023 report, it's said to have led other women to go to the London Metro Police with their own claims.
I see.
And their allegations, these go back further, between 1999 and 2004.
Wow, so it's like that initial reporting opened the door for others to come forward.
It seems that way. And as a direct result of these new claims, the London Metropolitan Police, they've now charged Russell Brand 1 count of rape, oral rape, and indecent assault, and then 2 more counts of sexual assault.
Wow, that's a lot. This is serious stuff. And the YouTube host, she pointed out, there's been a whole range of reactions to all this.
Oh, for sure. And Russell Brand himself, he's responded publicly to these charges.
And what did he say?
Well, he said that, and I'm quoting here, his younger self was a fool, a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But he was adamant, saying he's never committed rape, never engaged in non-consensual sexual activity.
Okay.
He's made it clear he intends to fight this in court, and he expressed gratitude for all the support he's been getting.
Makes sense. He's got to defend himself.
Right. But he also brought up some interesting points talking about the, quote, weaponizing of government. Like, he drew parallels to other high-profile cases like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, the whole mess.
And even some legal stuff happening in French politics.
Interesting. So almost like he's suggesting there might be other motivations beyond the specific allegations themselves behind all this coming out now.
Yeah, like the timing, the way it's all unfolding, he's raising those questions. Which kind of brings us to a really thorny issue, this whole thing with the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this case, in the UK, for these kinds of offenses, there actually isn't one.
Right. And the YouTube host, she really dives into both sides of this argument.
Lay it on me.
So on one hand, how can someone defend themselves against allegations that are like 26 years old?
It's a long time.
Right. Memories fade, evidence could be gone, witnesses might have moved or even passed away.
It's a huge burden on the accused. Trying to put together a defense after so long, especially for something this serious. Plus, think about the technology back then. No social media, not the same kind of digital trails we have now. Things that might be useful in a case today just didn't exist.
It's a whole different landscape. But then you've got the other side, which is equally important. This idea that victims of these types of crimes, they deserve the right to seek justice no matter how much time has gone by.
I see that side too.
Yeah. But even within that, there's this underlying expectation of a reasonable time frame for reporting.
Right, like how long is too long? Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. It creates this tension, this real conflict between wanting to hold people accountable, but also recognizing the practical challenges of defending yourself against these really old accusations. It's tough. And then the host, she also talked about the human side of this. Like, for Russell Brand's current wife and kids, can you imagine?
Oh my gosh, that would be so difficult.
To have these serious allegations connected to your partner's past, it would be devastating.
Totally. It makes you
Yeah.
think about all the people impacted, not just the individuals directly involved, but their families, everyone around them.
The ripple effects are huge. Now, the host did bring up the possibility that maybe these crimes were reported back then, but nothing was done.
Or maybe some new tech has become relevant now.
Right. But from what she said, it seems like these current claims, they really came out after that 2023 reporting went public.
Like it gave others the courage to speak up.
Maybe. It's something you see sometimes in these situations, these older allegations, they resurface after more recent ones make headlines.
The domino effect.
Yeah. And then the host made a really interesting observation about, like, a pattern he sees in Hollywood. She feels like there's this tendency to almost celebrate celebrities when they're in the thick of it, addiction, mental health struggles, like even romanticize that period.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's weird.
And then when those same people, they clean up their act, they get their life together, suddenly all this past behavior comes to light. It felt inauthentic to her, she said.
I can see that. It makes you question the motives and the timing of when these stories pop up.
Right. Why now? What's driving it? It's a lot to unpack. Okay, so that was like the deep dive into the Russell Brand situation, all based on what was discussed in this YouTube video. But this video, it actually covered a bunch of different stuff, which I think is cool because it shows how these deep dives, they can really go in all sorts of directions.
Keeps it interesting.
Totally. And just to give you a taste of something completely different, there was this whole theory about Ryan Reynolds and a text message.
A text message. What's this about?
So this is going back to a legal situation a while ago and a text message that was publicly attributed to Blake Lively.
Okay.
But the theory is that Ryan Reynolds might have actually been the one who wrote it.
Whoa, wait, really?
Yeah. You know that whole Game of Thrones text message? Where someone, supposedly Blake, was talking about having dragons?
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Well, the theory goes it might have been Ryan pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And the host lays out some pretty compelling evidence. Like, for one, back in 2015, Blake Lively herself admitted that Ryan, he was obsessed with Game of Thrones, like, seriously obsessed.
A super fan.
Totally. He even tried to pirate episodes, she said. But get this, at the same time, she admitted she'd never even seen the show.
Oh, no. Really?
Right, talk about a difference in levels of engagement. She even joked it was a bit of a sore spot in their marriage. He was that into it.
That's funny. So Ryan's a huge fan, and Blake's never even seen it.
Yep. And then the hosts team, they did some digging, went through Blake Lively's Twitter feed from around that time.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a single mention of Game of Thrones.
Really? That's kind of strange.
Right. You'd think if she was a fan, especially with how big the show was, there'd be something, some tweet.
Makes you wonder.
And then there's the language in the text message itself.
Oh, this is getting good.
So apparently, in the very first message Ryan Reynolds ever sent to Justin Muldowney, he used this specific phrase, creative parameters, talking about Blake and Taylor Swift. And guess what? That exact same phrase, creative parameters, it shows up in the Game of Thrones text that was supposedly from Blake.
No way. Word for word.
Word for word.
It's pretty wild.
It's a pretty big coincidence, if it is one.
Right. Like, what are the chances two different people use that exact phrase in similar contexts? It's a stretch.
I'm starting to see where this theory is going.
And then, to top it off, the Game of Thrones text, it ends with the sender, again, supposedly Blake, calling themselves Kizian.
Like Khaleesi.
Exactly. A little nod to Daenerys Targaryen. And they mention having a few dragons. So the host, she's like, maybe Ryan, being the Game of Thrones fanatic, he identifies with Daenerys, and maybe he wrote the message kind of embodying her, you know?
Uh-huh, that's a funny thought.
Like an inside joke or something. It's all speculation, of course.
Yeah.
But when you put it all together, Blake not watching the show, no Game of Thrones on her Twitter, and then that really specific language overlap with Ryan's earlier message, it does make you think it's definitely an intriguing theory, even if we can't prove it for sure. I love how this video goes from super serious allegations to something like this. It just shows how much we create these narratives around famous people.
Absolutely. And sometimes the reality, it might be totally different from what we see on the surface.
It makes you think about the roles we all play, the faces we show the world. Like, who's really behind the curtain?
It really does. And it makes you wonder about memory, how reliable it is, especially when we're talking about seeking justice for something that happened so long ago, like with the Russell Brand situation. Or even just something as simple as a text message. Who actually wrote it? What were their intentions?
The stories beneath the stories.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder there's always more to uncover, more to think about, maybe something for you listening to do your own deep dive into
Sure,
food for thought.